Tonight, Saskatchewan's medical technologists say they're understaffed and overwhelmed, and it's putting patients at risk. 2 of Saskatoon's warming centers are closing and a shelter is opening, but advocates say it's not enough. The U of S Huskies celebrate big wins and a banner year for basketball, hockey, volleyball, and more.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It's Monday, March 31st, and welcome to the CBC Saskatchewan News. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Plaster. An organization representing key employees in the healthcare system say they are understaffed and overworked. Medical technologists help test and diagnose patients, but some say the conditions are so bad, staff are choosing to quit. Alexander Kwan has more.
Dexter Mercer believed becoming a medical radiation technologist would be the path for a good life. But in Saskatchewan, he says that job is now a nightmare.
Personally experienced working over 50 hours straight with no longer than 45 minutes between callbacks, leaving little to no room for rest.
Mercer isn't alone. CUPE, the union representing medical technologists and technicians, brought 15 of the province's employees to the legislature on Monday, warning of the consequences of not supporting a key part of the health system.
If there's no technologists, there's no one there. The ER closes.
Technologists perform tests and analyze results that are necessary for doctors to make a diagnosis or to declare a patient well enough to go home. A recent survey by the union found 88% of respondents say their workload has increased in the past 5 years, while half say the healthcare facility closures were the result of short staffing. The head of the union says members haven't had a contract since 2023, positions aren't being filled, and a recent survey shows they are now at a breaking point.
Healthcare workers in our province, including technologists, are underpaid and undervalued. And this is not something that we can continue.
The union is asking for its new contract to deal with callback shifts and urging the province to increase healthcare funding and hire more workers. Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says he's aware of the issues and the province is trying to address them.
This is exactly what we're focused on. Again, taking the vacancies, because as I said, the vacancies, that's what kind of starts all these issues happening, and filling those vacancies and then getting the departments to a more stable position. While
Mercer says he loves the career, he says he may not be around to see the change happen.
Me and my wife, we have twins on the way, and I need to be able to be at home sometimes.
Mercer is set to leave his full-time job later this month. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan NDP says the provincial budget needs a big reset. It says the government's decision to cancel the industrial carbon tax changes the province's projected revenues. In question period Monday, the NDP introduced a motion for a new budget, but the Sask Party majority voted it down.
What we saw was a Sask Party government that brought forward a budget that wasn't worth the paper it was printed on from the get-go. Didn't incorporate any impacts with respect to tariffs, didn't have any plan to step up and to respond to those tariffs and those threats, and now they've blown a hole through their budget.
The industrial carbon tax was supposed to bring in $432 million in revenue. Saskatoon has been struggling with a houseless population for years. The city's 2024 point-in-time count found more than 1,400 people without a home. Starting tomorrow, a temporary enhanced shelter is opening, but as Liam O'Connor reports, it might not be enough.
Despite the recent cold and snowy weather, Saskatoon's 2 emergency warming centers are closing for the season Monday night. That's because money is running out for both Salvation Army's St. Mary's location and the Saskatoon Indian Métis Friendship Center. That change also comes just 1 day before a new temporary emergency shelter is set to open. But this new shelter might not work for everyone.
There's a certain number of people who, just for a variety of reasons, usually some combination of addictions, mental health issues, who aren't ready for that case management model, and so it's difficult for them to stay in the enhanced shelters for any length of time.
Gordon says lately the Salvation Army Warming Center has had about 60 people at night. At times, nearly 100 people have come. He says most of the people who access the overnight warming shelter in the winter are usually the same people setting up encampments in the summer. Gordon says he hopes the weather cooperates for the sake of those who will no longer be able to access the warming centers.
My personal approach and my request for the listeners would be praying for good weather for April. because we could still be hit with a winter storm, and there isn't a plan B at the moment.
The new enhanced shelter is opening Tuesday. It's downtown on Pacific Avenue next to the former Saskatoon Transportation Company bus station. An Alberta-based nonprofit group called the Mustard Seed will be running it, and it will have between 30 to 40 beds. The organization says its goal and priority is to get people housed.
We respect the fact that everybody is in a different stage of being unhoused, but at the same time, our goal overall is to get everybody who comes in through our doors.
Lowe says the shelter is meant to be a safe place where staff can gain the trust of clients and help them make more connections with wraparound supports. The Mustard Seed is only operating as a temporary location for up to 18 months until a permanent site is found. Liam O'Connor, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Liberal leader Mark Carney has unveiled his signature housing plan, pledging to double the pace of home building in Canada.
We will drive a huge increase in housing supply so we can bring costs down for Canadians. We will build at a pace not seen since the Second World War.
Carney is promising to boost construction to 500,000 new homes over a year the next decade. He says his government would create a standalone entity that would act as a developer overseeing the construction. It would provide tens of billions in financing to new affordable housing projects across the country. Build Canada Homes, or BHC, would also issue bulk orders of prefabricated and modular homes. University of Saskatchewan athletes and teams went on a historic run for the 2024-25 athletic season. The Huskies celebrated those big wins today in Saskatoon. Dozens of fans and family cheered on the athletes as they marched into the school's main gymnasium. Men's hockey captured the U Sports bronze medal after a 4-1 win over Toronto Metropolitan. The men's volleyball team also picked up a U Sports bronze in a comeback win against Sherbrooke. The top dogs this season was the women's basketball team, who took out the reigning champs from Carleton in a blowout 85-66 win. It was the team's third national championship in program history. National Player of the Year Gage Grassick scored 35 points in the final, and she's still on cloud 9.
You look at everyone who was on the court today, and like that amount of athletes who succeeded this year is incredible. And I think that just speaks to the volumes of the coaches, the athletes, the trainers, everyone behind the scenes who gets these athletes ready.
The U of S Huskies also racked up medals in individual sports. Wrestlers brought home 3 bronzes, while in track and field, the women picked up gold in the 1,000 meter and 4x800 relay, and also finished third as a team. Moose Jaw is making its mark on the global sports stage this week. It's the first time the city has hosted the World Men's Curling Championship. Sarah Onyango has more.
Thousands of curling fans have been coming out to the draws this week at the Temple Garden Center in Moose Jaw, many of them from halfway across the globe.
It's a very beautiful place, and they're kindness people.
And when fans aren't watching curling, they're exploring Moose Jaw.
A lot of Canadians coming from all different places, Alberta, Manitoba, BC. And we've had several visits just today of people that are not together from the United States. So that was exciting too, and they're all very excited.
The tournament is expected to be a boon for local hotels, restaurants, and stores. Curling Canada says the city could see anywhere from $12 and $15 million injected into the local economy.
Having this in town for like over a week, we're seeing a lot more, and we're definitely going to be having a really busy week as well.
But retailers say they're ready for the influx of tourists.
We have several extra people working, and we've ordered extra inventory to make sure that we're all set with that.
The mayor of Moose Jaw says the big event is a game changer for the city's slower spring season. He says the economic benefits are great, but the exposure could be even better.
It's putting us in the provincial spotlight, the national spotlight, but just as you stated, internationally. And that is an unbelievable opportunity, and the city and the community is ready to embrace that.
With the event lasting 9 days, the city hopes to make an impression that attracts tourists for years to come. Sarah Onyango, CBC News, Regina.
It may not feel like spring in Saskatoon, but green cart pickup is ramping up. The city reduces green cart compost pickup to just once a month during the winter months. As of today, the bins will be picked up every 2 weeks. Residents are asked to check the city's collection calendar to find out which days the carts will be emptied. Regina residents will also have more frequent pickups. It's going from bi-weekly to every week starting April 1st. And camping season in Saskatchewan is just around the corner. Start making your plans on which provincial park you want to visit this year. Reservation for the 2025 Sask Parks camping season begins on April 7th for all seasonal campsite and then on April 8th for nightly bookings. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. March 31st marks National Indigenous Languages Day. It's a day to celebrate them and find ways to keep them alive. Many people have found success through social media. Novalee Fox is a Cree TikToker from Wachapowa's First Nation. We caught up with her recently to hear about how she's making an impact in her community and beyond.
Tansei Novalee Natsiga Sino Chapwe Sotsinia. Niwi again, Bear Valley. I'm an influencer. I like to promote healthy living and to revitalize the Cree language.
And we enunciate our sounds like te, ta, to, ta.
The reason why I wanted to promote it on there is because I feel that people are missing out on the spiritual intent of Cree. So I decided, since the young people, the Oskaya, they go on social media platforms, and I decided to be a part of that. I can tell I'm reaching the young people even just in my community. They'll come up to me and they'll say funny words in Cree, and we'll converse a little bit. It's a bit broken, but at least they're speaking Cree, and that's what I love about it. And I see the impact that it has on our young people. I remember my kokums and my chapans always saying to speak as much Cree as you can. Even if you make a mistake, keep speaking, because we can't let it win. We can't let that old colonial system and assimilation policies win. Our language is beautiful. It's not evil, it's beautiful. So I feel awesome when I see the kids in my community are online trying to speak Cree, because it can happen. My kids speak lots of Cree. I started my journey, I was spoken from 0 to 4 years old, and all in Cree by my chapans and my cookums, but I couldn't understand much of the storytelling, and that used to upset me. And then my mom told me about residential schools. I swear I was only 7 years old when she told me about that, and I remember making a promise to myself that one day I would learn the language. But it didn't actually happen until I started my healing journey. And I went up north to Montreal Lake, a Cree-speaking community. I was in treatment there for 4 months. My mental health therapist was fluent Cree. My elder was fluent Cree. You can read in Cree, but if you're not actually speaking with those Kiteak, those old people, you're not going to understand. Tansigia, Kigwai, Ki Ototimin, Anuch Kisakaw.
They have the school, which will teach them some of the Cree. And then they'll go home and they'll have their parents or grandparents strengthen that by talking to them and doing it over again. Yeah, Atushke win work. I teach little kids, and they're talking. Oh, I almost start crying the other day. A little girl come and she come and told me her name. Oh man, it was something good. Yeah. You know, for her to say her name in Cree and tell me that's what I'm learning, Mushroom. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm learning to talk Cree. I was so proud of her. It just made me feel, man, we're winning.
They have to be a part of your language journey, our Kiteak. You know, there are language speakers, there are knowledge keepers. You have to learn your animals, you have to know the nature, like Kimoan, rain, BACU, thunderbird, Asini, rock. You learn all of our things about nature. You're going to understand what those older people are saying in ceremony. So what my advice is to learn your introductions, learn your prayers in Cree, because once you get those, you're going to understand a little bit of what they're saying and you're going to get it. Speak a little bit every day. Peita, you know, peita, wisakat, pass that pepper. Do it at the table with your kids, just simple Cree, it's gonna help you. And then as a little girl, he'd teach us these little words too, like Maya Tish, that means you're ugly. He'd call us ugly all the time, but in Cree, it's like, you're so ugly, you're cute, you know?
You're past ugly, you're nice.
Yeah.
Weather specialist Ethan Williams joins us now from Saskatoon. It feels very much like winter across the province, Ethan.
Yeah,
why is that?
Sure. Yeah, winter really hanging on this last day of March, and I thought I'd come up Highway 11 just to see how much snow fell over the past few days. And yeah, it's quite a bit in some areas. Very cold start to the day for many of us as well, and you can see we're looking at temperatures well below seasonal for those overnight lows early this morning. -16 here in Saskatoon when it should be closer to -4 this time of year. But up north is where that real cold air has moved in. -22 early Monday morning in Cree Lake. Should be around -11 this time of year. Collins Bay, you felt like -40 this morning, but should be around -14 for that overnight low. And temperatures recovering somewhat in northern Saskatchewan today, but a lot of us there not really even getting above -10 into those minus single digits. South and central, though, spending Monday with temperatures kind of at or just above the freezing mark. But you see Saskatoon there in some central areas still lagging behind, well below seasonal. Should be around 7 or 8 degrees above the freezing mark for this time of year. A little bit of increasing cloudiness through south and central as we went through Monday, and you can see some snow and some mixed precipitation moving through extreme southern Saskatchewan and kind of creeping up along the Trans-Canada corridor there. We are watching for a few systems that are going to be making their way through the province as we go through these next couple of days. Not anything overly huge in terms of accumulation-wise, just things to be aware of. Starting overnight into early Tuesday, snow possible in the parklands and areas kind of to the east of Regina there. And then that moves into central Saskatchewan as we get into Tuesday morning. Much of us through south and central spending Tuesday under cloud cover, maybe a little bit of that changing over to rain in southwestern Saskatchewan by the end of the day. It's really Tuesday night into Wednesday that we're watching northern Saskatchewan for some more significant snowfall moving through. And then a rinse and repeat scenario. We're just looking at flurries and cloud cover until we start to round out the rest of the work week, and that's when a little bit more substantial clearing is going to start to move in. Far northern locations, especially closer to the northern border, looking maybe in the range of 5 to 10 centimeters by the time we get into Thursday. But other than that, most of us just looking at kind of a skiff of snow here and there. Winds, though, picking up for south and central as we go into early Tuesday, and those will stay breezy in southeastern sections as we get into the afternoon Tuesday. And then as that next system sort of starts to move in, those will pick up again as we get a little bit further into Wednesday. But for Regina, we will be hovering around that freezing mark for daytime highs and staying in that cloud cover until, again, we get to about Friday or Saturday. That's when things will start bumping up, and Monday, maybe even getting close to double digits above the freezing mark. Saskatoon, not ruling out the possibility of some showers or flurries as we get into Tuesday and possibly still Wednesday. Couple of chilly nights there, Wednesday and Thursday, below -10 again, before things kind of start to smarten up again as we get into the weekend and we see some sunshine return, Dan. So yes, winter hanging on for now, but as we enter April, hopefully a little bit of that spring coming our way.
Slowly looking good.
Indeed.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
The Junos honored Anne Murray with the Lifetime Achievement Award last night in Vancouver. And in her speech, she celebrated the country she calls home in the most Canadian of outfits.
Because the majority of my work was in the U.S., I was pressured very early in my career to move to New York or Los Angeles, and I just couldn't do it.
The Canadian icon said Canada was her safe haven, safety blanket, and light at the end of the tunnel. She says it still is. Murray is the most Juno-awarded artist of all time. She's won 25 Junos, 4 Grammys, and even more country music awards in both Canada and the U.S. It was the highlight of the evening for many who have followed her career. Make it national championship number 4 for the Debden Roadrunners. The U20 women's broomball team from the northern Saskatchewan village went undefeated during the round robin at the national tournament in Val-d'Or, Quebec, then sealed the national title by winning gold in the gold medal game Saturday 2-0 over the Blizzard, who represented Quebec. We'll be back after the break. March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. The condition affects millions of women worldwide, yet remains under-discussed and misunderstood. Ana Pontes de Azevedo shared her journey with CBC, including how difficult it was just to get diagnosed.
I think that it's really hard as women because you sometimes have to prove your suffering to say that you deserve care, and because your period usually has pain involved, no one really cares, but it got to a point in which I was almost fainting every month. I got huge migraines. I couldn't have any sexual intercourse without pain, and it just lined it up that I knew something was wrong. It doesn't feel normal. So I went to the doctor here in Canada. I'm originally from Brazil. I went to the doctor here. I complained about all of my symptoms. I was dismissed twice. And with that, I decided that I needed to fight for myself because no one else would. And so I went back home. And then when healthcare is unfortunately private, I was able to afford to get my exam made, my MRI. And then with that, I took it to a doctor there, and then I got the diagnosis.
Ethan Williams is back with one last look at weather. Ethan, how are we looking?
Well, it looks like we're going to see some cloud cover continuing to build in overnight for many areas of the province, and possibly some snow flurries or showers on the way as well. Let's take a look at our overnight conditions, where temperatures a bit wide-ranging and closer to the freezing mark if you're in southwestern Saskatchewan, still in those minus double digits on the eastern side of the province. Into northern Saskatchewan, cloud cover for you as well, and some possible flurries, especially in the far north. May have a couple of temperatures again below -20 as we head into the first day of April. Cloud cover, a big theme as we go through the day through much of the province, and temperatures going to rebound to near the freezing mark if you're in the Churchill region, but still a bit chillier if you're in the far north. For south and central, cloud cover hanging around as well, and again a chance of some flurries, maybe some late day showers as well, specifically into the later afternoon, but those temperatures again for most of us going to be hanging around that freezing mark, and Dan will also have to add a bit of a breeze to that for many locations as well.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And that's it for us tonight. For more news anytime, head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Don't forget to download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablets. Thanks for watching, everyone.